What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. In this video, I'm going to be discussing whether or not Jeff Ulbrich, defensive coordinator of the New York Jets, should be brought back on the coaching staff for the 2022 season. We all have seen some of the abysmal performances from our defense throughout the season. Today, against the Philadelphia Eagles, we saw yet another example. We're going to go ahead and discuss whether or not we should be bringing him back on the coaching staff, and also, should he be facing criticism for his job this season? Let's go ahead and get after it. Before we get started, if I could get you all to please jet up the like button on this video, and if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I want to thank all of our subscribers who have stuck with us through this drought. It has been utter chaos in my house. My daughter was sick, my wife was sick. Work has just been really, really busy this school year, so I do apologize for that, and I do thank you again for sticking with us. Looking forward to streaming tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the Jets post-game show. The Jets lost to the Philadelphia Eagles today, and we will discuss all things New York Jets. Okay, so Jeff Ulbrich and the New York Jets defense, to put it mildly, they have struggled this season, and it's not just in one particular category. You know, there's been a ton of penalties against this defense. Pass rush has been hot and cold. We very rarely have consistent pass rush week to week and even drive to drive. You know, there's just too many droughts of, not consistent pass rush. And honestly, injuries have played a big part in our defensive struggles. When you take a look at the players that we've lost this season, Marcus May was a captain on the defense last season. Carl Lawson, who we were all counting on to be the primary source, the speed rusher off the edge that we signed in free agency. Those two players right off the bat are significant blows to the defense. And I don't want this video to sound like I am going to be making excuses for Jeff Ulbrich, because that's not the case. There have been a lot of miscues from him as well. One of them that comes to mind, and I know it's just one example, but that game in London versus the Atlanta Falcons, where they had Jonathan Franklin-Myers covering Kyle Pitts, I believe, in the end zone. There's just been a couple of miscues from our coaching staff. And honestly, there have been times where I feel like our players are really not in position to make plays. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about not just the game from today versus the Philadelphia Eagles, but throughout the season. Should Jeff Ulbrich be on the hot seat? Should he be a candidate to be fired after just 1 year? And we'll discuss all of those things. When you're assessing a coach's job, I think that it's really important, especially when you're talking about a really young squad like the New York Jets. I think player development needs to be really, really close to the top of the list in how you evaluate them. And I think that's one of the things that I will give kudos to Robert Saleh and to Jeff Ulbrich, is they've done a pretty good job of developing some of these defensive players that we have on the team. I think of guys like Bryce Huff. I think of guys like Jonathan Franklin-Myers, Quinnen Williams, who, again, I know a lot of people want to scrutinize Quinnen Williams for, maybe not being completely dominant like Aaron Donald, but he's had a really good season this year, and I don't see him, having some sort of down year at all. I think he's fantastic, and he's well on his way to having a career high in sacks. Guys like Bryce Hall, I think, is a great guy to mention. He's had a very solid year. I think he's a solid cornerback too on this defense. That was really the hope, I think. I never really expected him to be a cornerback one on this defense. But in the future, I really do expect him to be our cornerback two for this team for a long, long time. Michael Carter II out of Duke has been really, really nice, shown some flashes. And again, he's one of those young pieces that will carry over and will be part of the solution in fixing this defense. A few names that we can kind of point to that this coaching staff has brought on that really haven't contributed, in helping this defense. And again, it's kind of concerning because these are guys that they brought in, that they really valued. They thought that they could, make into some really good football players. And, Jamian Sherwood, I know he had his season-ending injury, but prior to, he was struggling. He wasn't really doing a whole lot, was really, really having a hard time in coverage. So moving forward for him, what's his role going to be? And players like Hamza Nasrul Dean, he's been dealing with his injuries as well. But again, Hadn't seen a whole lot from him this season. Jared Davis, a free agent that they brought in, a guy that they're kind of just, hoping could, basically pop for them on a 1-year deal for about $5 million, I believe. That move has not panned out at all. He's played since coming from his injury, and he hasn't done a whole lot. And our run defense is absolutely putrid, nausea-inducing. I mean, it's really hard to watch our defense play against the run right now. So, seeing them kind of hit on some players and really help to develop, but also seeing some players that really just have had a hard time to get going is a little bit concerning when you're referring to Jeff Ulbrich. So at the end of the day, we have to kind of look forward here a little bit. So number one, the Jets are loaded, absolutely loaded for the 22 offseason. We hold tons of draft picks. We have 4 in the first 2 rounds. We potentially are going to have 2 first-round picks in the top 10, which is outstanding for this team. And, there was some skepticism from fans online saying, why would we spend, 2 first-round picks or, maybe even 3 picks in the first, 2 rounds on defense? I mean, I think it's kind of obvious at this point. We need to invest in our defense. Things are not going to get better by just, signing 1-year flyer guys in free agency or drafting guys late rounds. We need to start getting some true talent in this defense. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this one, is that the personnel for this defense to really thrive, it's still not here. And I think that we've seen that from the safety play this year, the linebacking crew. Those 2 units have really, really struggled to make any impact on the games. And so, you're looking at guys in the draft that are going to be able to play fast and to be able to make plays on the football, in space, in coverage. And ultimately, we need to get more pass rush going, guys. I know we have Jonathan Franklin-Myers, Quinnen Williams. We cannot count on Carl Lawson to be firing on all cylinders to begin the year. I hope that's the case. I hope he comes back and just dominates. But it's highly unlikely because that's a serious injury he's coming off of. So we need to invest in the edge department. We need to invest in our pass rush. And nothing's going to change defensively because that is the whole scheme. All gas, no brake is referring to the defense, and it is all about getting after the quarterback, moving them off their spots, pressuring them into mistakes, sacks, fumbles, interceptions, negative plays in general. That's what this whole defensive philosophy is about, is not having to bring the blitz, to let your guys play coverage in space, and to make plays on the football when these quarterbacks make mistakes. So to end the video, my final assessment as of right now, because we're still in the middle of the season, should Jeff Ulbrich be facing criticism? Hell yes, absolutely. He needs to be better. He needs to put these guys in better positions. He needs to change things up a little bit. I know we're not really meant to be a blitzing team, but maybe we need to be creating pressure, in some of these third long plays that we keep getting beaten on. The Philadelphia Eagles today, I think they converted on like a 3rd and 19 or something like that. Like, that stuff should not be happening every single week to this defense. There's just no excuse. I don't know if we need to play more zone, more man. I don't know if we need to play back further on these plays or what, but we just keep getting burned, and it's similar ways each time. You know what I mean? Like, the pattern is there. Screen passes, 3rd and long situations, having players not in the right position to make the plays and to be, effective on that play. I think those are things that Jeff Ulbrich down the road, down the stretch here, he has to do a better job. Or I think it's fair to say, he might be, looking at a one and done type of situation. I hope that's not the case because I really do like our coaching staff. I think Mike LaFleur has shown that he is, here for the long haul, and I think he deserves to keep his job. I think that Robert Saleh knows what he's doing. He hired Jeff Ulbrich. I think Jeff Ulbrich knows what he's doing. He's got a really good coaching background, guys, and he came from the NFL. So, he played in the NFL, I should say. So I like Jeff Ulbrich. It's just we've got to see that improvement as we go through the season. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you wouldn't mind, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. I look forward to talking to you guys tonight for the live stream. Go Jets. and I'll see you guys next time.